Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back to another Limbus Company video. Today we're doing, yeah, the Canto 8 mirror matches. Pretty much all of them. I might have forgot a few of them here or there. Like, technically speaking, you could do a middle fight, a middle mirror match with, you know, the whole, with the sweepers, but that was also technically Canto 7, I think, so, I don't know about that. Anyway, point is, we're trying all of the mirror matches. Starting with, of course, Lord Hongloo and Mao Faust versus GQ and Zilu. For this video, I'm doing like live post commentary, so yeah, everything I'm saying here is just, it's not actually during the combat like I normally do, because for some reason I just didn't feel like, you know, recording any voiceover while I was actually playing. So yeah, I'll just chime in every now and again whenever I feel like I have something to say. Otherwise, yeah, just enjoy, I guess.
그래, 그렇게 시원하게 처리하니 보는 맛이 나는군. 일 처리는 빠르게 하는 편이 덜 답답한 법이지.
불가 위야 막아내지 못하리 무용하군요.
Now right here, I actually made a very big misplay here because, yeah, I was trying to basically save all of the powerful skills for the actual, you know, the main boss fight against GQ instead of just the random Mao units. And in doing that, I kind of forgot that Mao Faust ran out of her Strider status effect and therefore lost all of her speed on that previous turn. Yeah. If I realized she ran out of that status effect, I would have definitely used the counter skill the last turn, but what can you do? One of the coolest things about these mirror matches is definitely the fact that, like, most of the identities, they have unique dialogue when, you know, paired with their mirror matches, or at least Lord Hongloo does, you know. The other ones not so much, but Lord Hongloo, just like any of the other, you know, the main identities of the Cantos, they have unique dialogue in these fights.
단테님은 매번 기발한 발상을 떠올리시네요.
Yeah, Mao Faust is just, she's ridiculously strong in this fight. In any fight, like, I mean, just look at what she can do, right? She gets like, she only has 3 skill slots, right? Because she's slotted in at number 2, but she gets like 5 attacks anyways. Because she can stack up to 2 assist defense by using both a skill 3 and a defense skill in a single turn, and that gives her 5 skills to use. It's just ridiculous. Her action economy is ridiculous. It's like, that's why she's the best identity in the entire game. Like, it's not even close. It's just her action economy that puts her just way above anybody else. Even Lord Hongloo, I mean, he's close. He's got good action economy, especially with that his own skill 3. Because I would technically consider the, you know, the bonus skill 3 that the Mao identities get by him using that, I would consider that to be his own skill, you know. So by using a skill 3 for him, it's like he's technically using 3 skills on a single turn, which is very cool.
들어보겠다. 짐승들의 재를 풀겠다.
틈을 끊어 바로 이
상담에서 알려준 대로 잘했어. 역시 상담 프로그램을 진행한 건 잘한 일이야.
틈을 끊어 바로 이
적합한 관리법이었어요.
토끼를
다행이에요.
본다. 저 해충들을 도려내라.
틈을 끊어 바로 이
묘야,
とても効果的でした.
길을 열어라.
무얼 잘못했는지 아는 것부터가 시작이 됐어.
친히 목을 떨궈주마.
You know, this right here is one of the main reasons why this fight was actually kind of difficult. Not because we lost that clash, but just unbreakable coins in general, right?
이 자리에 서 있게 해달라고 바란 적은 없었어요.
They were a nuisance to deal with because getting staggered at all in this fight, terrible, absolutely terrible. Because since we're only using, like, you know, 2 identities in this fight, that means if one of them gets staggered, half of our clash ability instantly just disintegrates for a turn. Which in a fight like this, where there's so much damage, you know? It's like getting staggered is basically a death sentence. Which is why that ego is necessary to be used.
틈을 끊어 바로
Just for the healing alone.
그간의 전투 경험이 쓸모가 없진 않았군요.
I'm using the Arknight's ego just because, you know, why not, right?
조치였습니다.
But all of Faust's key egos could be used there. It doesn't really matter which
저
one.
해충들을 도려내라.
Also, the Arknight's ego has the added benefit of giving, like, a lot of extra protection, which is
묘야,
not that impactful because Rupture is pretty much the main damage in this fight, honestly. So,
또 그렇게 했을 테지.
it helps, but not very much.
이만하면 훌륭해.
I mean, look at her Rupture stack. It's 11 and 7, and it only gets worse from here because of all of the unbreakable coins.
틈을 끊어 바로 이
완벽한 한방. 시원한 걸.
무용하군요 바로 이
대성공이야. 가른 신나.
흥미롭군.
노래 부를까?
이 세계에서 형님께 이런 재미난 것을 들을 수 있다고 어찌 아무도 내게 말해주지 않았단 말인가. 짐승들의 재를 풀겠다.
틈을 끊어 바로 이
그대로만 해주신다면 오늘은 제압이 빠르겠어요.
And this is where the fight goes from pretty winnable to very, very challenging, all because of one single 5% roll on literally the worst possible time it could possibly happen. Like, seriously, this is the major, like,
꺼내지 않았다 한데 사라지진 않았을
방금
the worst part about having a single coin skill
짐승들의 재를
is when that 5% chance happens, you're using it to clash against a very powerful attack, because usually the single coin skills, especially if they're like, you know, skill 3s, they clash really high if they roll heads. But if they don't roll heads, you're just completely screwed. Because if it was like, if I use a skill 2 there instead of a skill 3, for example, like, that missed coin wouldn't matter, because, you know, there's 3 other coins that can continue the clash afterwards.
스스로 답을 구하시길
But yeah, that single missed clash just
의지대로 더 보여봐.
it kind of impacts literally the rest of the fight because of it. It was so devastating.
친히 목을 떨궈주마. 친히 목을 떨궈주마. 인과 예를 가르쳐 오랜 악행을
이런
지운
악당들은 쉽게 물리칠 수 있다고.
순서가 잘못됐건 오랜 악행을 철저히 짓밟고 나서야 인과 예 또한 의미를 갖지.
불가 위가 막아내지 못하리. 아득한 여정, 멈추지 않는 시대에서 희망과 미래를 찾아 스스로 답을 구하시길.
이래서 장비는 속성별로 준비해달라고 부탁해놨었지. 적재적소했으니까 이만큼 효율적인 일도 없잖아.
흐릿한 등화 곱게 접은 종이에 번졌으니 식구의 하늘 용이 되어 빈 벼로에 남았구나.
배워라, 명.
토끼를 본다. 저 해충들을 도려내라.
틈을 끊어 바로
묘여
제약개체에게 맞는
길을 열어라.
공격수단도 못 고르면서 왜 징계팀에
した攻
남아있지?
撃でなくても最善の選択
괜찮아요.
だったはずです
몸소 보여주지. 이럴 때도 있는 법이죠. 어떻게
그거 그렇게 하는 거 맞아? 거의 순방망이인데?
You know, the only reason I used the second skill 3 there was because I wanted to specifically, yeah, get Hongloo to use his, you know, unopposed
틈을 끊어
3-coin extra skill 3, whatever you want to call it. You know, the attack he makes when none of the Heishos attack with him. And yeah, this right here is where the
과연
House Rupture just
꺼내지
이
않았다.
정도
basically
상황에서
kills her.
소리하는 나약한
Very
지원은
difficult turn right here.
징계팀에 없어.
because like most of these guys are attacking, you know, they're attacking Faust right now, and right now because I used the Arknight's ego before, like Hongloo is fatal to lust damage, so I have to use his base ego right there, literally just to turn that lust damage off. Otherwise, GQ would kill us right here. And then the rest of what Hongloo is doing is effectively protecting Faust, because like all of them are attacking Faust right now, and because the rupture stack is so high, like if she takes any more than like a single coin in this turn, she's just straight up dead instantly. And this is like my third or fourth attempt at this fight, and believe me, I got this far, and then exactly that happened. Faust got a massive rupture stack, Hongloo under sped, everyone's attacking her, and she dies. And then like he no longer has enough clash power to be able to survive himself. And also, it's more so an issue with, you know, healing, right? Because Hongloo doesn't have a way to heal himself, so he's basically entirely reliant on Faust's egos to be able to do it for him.
내가 세피라로서 너희가 죽지 않도록 도와줄게.
So if she did die there, it's probably game over, you know? I mean, maybe not, because this is basically the last turn of the fight anyways, but
막아내지 못하리.
if it wasn't,
아득한 여정, 멈추지 않는 시대에서 희망과 미래를 찾아 스스로 답을 구하시길.
별로 효과적이지 않은 것 같은데.
it's definitely lucky that, like, or is it really lucky? Not really, because she's just really fast, but Faust being fast here is really good because, yeah, this attack sets his speed to 10, which means he usually outspeeds everybody, and after he uses this skill, it ends the turn, right? So we got basically a bunch of free damage there from Faust, since that attack automatically staggers her. And once we stagger him, yeah, that's the fight. The rest of it's just doing enough damage, basically.
목을 떨궈주마.
자, 악당 퇴치 성공! 오늘도 정말 멋진 활약이었어.
언제나 티끌 하나 없는 끝은 없을 테죠. 그러나 그에 가까워지려 노력한다면 또한 문제도 없을 것입니다.
Obviously, there's more than just, you know, Mao Faust and Lord Hongloo here in the results screen, because, you know, to get to that fight, you have to do a whole dungeon run to be able to fight him, you know, so... Yeah, I'm not going to solo the entire dungeon with just those two. That'd be stupid. Especially when they're not even going to be in the video, so, yeah.
메이저.
Anyway, next up we have the Uncorp
마이너 아르카나 정도겠지.
gang, or as people like to call them, the frauds.
마이너라고 해도
This is actually a very, very difficult fight, and it's not because, like,
제출할게요.
you know, we're using slosh mail. Like, she's here because it's like,
조명이
you know, they have fairies. She's their only fairy identity, so
모든 것을
yeah, she kind of
쳐부술
has to come. And then Hongloo is here because he is literally required to be able to do this fight. Otherwise, I wouldn't bring him at all. And so I chose, I chose K-Corp Hongloo specifically because he's green, and it's like, that's close enough to being a fairy, you know. So I think it's justified to bring K-Corp in here.
リンバスカンパニーの皆さんとご一緒できて
Anyways, those two, Ishmael and Hongloo, they basically don't do anything in this fight. I mean, the biggest contribution they actually make is that first turn blind obsession ego, because this is actually like my like the other fight. It's like my third or fourth time actually attempting this, because man, this fight is actually really, really obnoxious. I'll say that much. And it's entirely because of Gubo, right? Because he's got this one skill that he likes to use. It's a 4-coin unbreakable coin skill that basically attacks everyone.
나 선 속을
And
벗어날
sometimes he uses it on turn 2, sometimes he never uses it. I don't really, I think it's like a damage threshold or something, which triggers it. But anyways, what it does is when it hits you, even if you win the clash, it just, it gives you a ton of sinking and makes you just lose all of your sanity. And because of that, the main actual, like, difficulty of this fight comes in the fact that I just kept losing clashes constantly. Because I was permanently stuck at, like, neutral sanity, and, you know, they actually have decently high clashing skills. Gubo and, the other guy, I don't remember his name. Jia Huan.
지금이 집중할 때
And they have
마지막까지
negative coin skills. Like yeah, that attack right there. Reminiscent Shatter Bullet. That's the one I'm talking about. That just reduces your sanity. And it's like they have... The bigger problem is the fact that they have negative coin skills, right? So it's like you're reducing their sanity by just simply winning clashes, and then they have negative coin skills, which makes it so that sanity reduction actually isn't really a bad thing.
경외감 속에 숨어
And it just makes winning clashes basically impossible, especially if Gubo uses this attack like really early on, like turn 2 or 3.
공격이 약점이었겠죠?
시선에 눈이 멀지
재미를 쫓다 보면
칼음도 깜짝
사소한 희생은 언제나
And one of the
필요한
biggest things is, unlike the last fight where we got, you know, Faust with her healing ego, we basically have no healing egos in this fight at all. So losing clashes is very, very bad because they have unbreakable coins, right? We have no way to heal. And if we keep losing clashes, we just constantly lose all of our health. So it's like... Yeah, there's basically... If we start getting on the back foot, it's like there's no way to recover. And that was the big thing that just kept killing me over and over again until I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to use Blind Obsession on turn 1 to just completely fix all of our sanity problems. And that was it. That was literally all we needed to win, is just having more sanity initially. And the rest of it is just, well, you can see what's happening here. Basically no challenge whatsoever. Hongloo and Sloshmail are actually pretty decent in this fight, I'm not gonna lie. Like, they're obviously not doing any damage, but they're doing what they were supposed to be doing, and that's taking damage. And they're doing a really good job of it, too. Like, I wouldn't quite say they're the MVP of the fight, but they're pretty good. They're pretty good. Which is honestly shocking to say about Sloshmail. But genuinely, if Sloshmail wasn't here, like, this fight would be a lot harder, I'd say. If not only for that, you know, Blind Obsession on turn 1.
완벽한 한방. 시원한걸?
흩뿌려져라. 추악한 모든 시선이 이끌릴지어다.
성당에서 알려준 대로 잘했어. 역시 상담 프로그램을 진행한 건 잘한 일이야.
네, 잘 들어갔네요. 크게 의미 있는 성과는 아니지만요.
아이고.
제가 도움이 될지는 모르겠지만 노력해 보겠습니다.
꿰뚫어 퍼지리. 일촉즉발. 꿰뚫어 퍼지리.
경외감 속에 숨어들.
이 외고에 이런 힘도 있어?
악당 퇴치 성공! 오늘도 정말 멋진 활약이었어. 내일도 꼭 불러주기야.
입안에 짠맛이 도는군. 아, 무엇인가 했더니
You know, I really like
어린
Encore
동료의 피가
Fell Bullet
튀었던
Isong.
모양이군.
Now that he actually, you know, is actually somewhat competent with
이런 맛이던가.
Ryoshu on his side. Like, without her, I think he's pretty bad, but like with her, he's actually really good. So I'm glad he's good. He's a cool identity.
이건 직원들에게 유리한 상황 같아요.
And finally, obviously, we have Lei Hang and the middle. Hongloo is here again for a similar reason as before. The fight literally forces you to bring him, so nothing I can do about that. One thing I can say is I tried to beat this fight with Liu Hongloo, but he's just so bad, man. He couldn't do anything. So I just decided, you know what? We'll use base Hongloo because it's funny how base Hongloo is literally better than Liu. Like, Liu is a 2-star and base is, you know, base, and he's still better. And that's not even like just because he has an evade, you know, it's just he's the second best base identity in the game, right? Which definitely makes his 2-star identities a lot harder to pick when you know, he's got this free unit that's already pretty decent, you know. But anyways, this fight in particular, one of the trickiest parts about it was actually that turn 1 specifically, because, you know, in that turn 1, Lei Hang, he can't kill anyone. It's impossible. And in fact, you want him to hurt you as much as possible when you're using like very little identities, because it basically just removes your stagger bar, right? Because you get a full heal after that first turn. And if he staggers you, then you can't be staggered in the rest of the fight, right? Like Sinclair, he no longer has his first stagger bar anymore because Lei Hang staggered him. But the problem with that is the fact that specifically if he staggers Marcel in this fight, Marcel will reload his bullets prematurely, which is not something you want to do, because you want to get as much value out of him as possible. Which means that, you know, it's actually very tricky, these first couple of turns, because he can't be staggered on the first turn because otherwise he'll reload prematurely. But you also want him to be staggered before he runs out of bullets, so that he cannot be, so that it activates his own anti-stagger, and then lets him be able to tank a lot more damage afterwards, right? So it's like, yeah, we're trying to basically do all these things, and the reason we use this here is because is for that very reason, right? Because we want to be very, very particular about how much damage Marcel takes in this turn. We want him to basically only take damage from this unbreakable coin skill, so that it triggers his anti-stagger. And we use basically all of our bullets in the process. And yeah, it was just bad targeting that turn and bad speed, so I had to use that other one to reduce Lei Hang's speed there, so I could actually properly clash against everything. To just make sure that, you know, Marcel doesn't take too much damage, basically. This fight doesn't have the same problem as the last one in that, like, we don't have any healing, because we do have Sinclair, who has a decent amount of healing choices. But it's still a lot more difficult than pretty much either of the other two fights, just because Lei Hang does so much damage. Another reason why, you know, base Hongloo is better in this fight than Leo is because he has a pride skill, right? And that allows Sinclair to actually trigger his passive to give Marcel more bullets, which is what we're doing right here in this turn. And it's like, technically speaking, it is possible for Liu to trigger it as well, because he does have access to both Dimension Shredder and the Arknight's Ego, which are both pride skills. So, as long as you can fuel both of those egos, Liu could also trigger, you know, Sinclair's passive to reload Marcel's bullets. But, like I said, he just wasn't working out, so I swapped him out for base, which is just treated better for activating the passive in the first place, so I don't really mind that much.
야호, 이기는 편, 우리 편.
깨지 말아야. 받아볼 텐가.
I definitely use a lot more egos here for Marcel, because I probably wouldn't use this one normally if I wasn't just trying to be very, very particular about using too many bullets, you know? The Steam Transport Machine is a very powerful ego. Like, it was actually a good thing I did use that ego, because it gets a lot more powerful, like, the more you use it. If you... like, it's kind of... somewhat weak that first time, but like after that first time, the next few times you use it, it becomes a lot more strong, which is actually pretty important for this fight. But more importantly, you just want to make Marcel have as much ammo as possible for as long as possible, because if he doesn't have that, his clash power kind of just drops. Which isn't that bad, because like he still keeps the unbreakable coins, and the unbreakable coins get a lot of extra damage when he's out of bullets, so it's not that bad. But in this fight specifically, where you're already taking a lot of damage regardless, it's like losing a clash is very, very bad. So you want to just make sure Marcel always has as much bullets as possible for as long as possible. Which unfortunately we've run out at this point, but you know, Lei Hang's almost dead, which is the silver lining. I mean, this next turn is definitely the hardest turn of them all, because it's like Marcel's lost clash power also affects egos, which definitely makes it a little tricky here, because yeah, I can't clash against like half the stuff that I want to. And even more like importantly is the fact that Lei Hang has a clashable counter here, which yeah, this one is very bad. Literally almost killed me right there, which very close, very close. If that had actually killed me, then it's like game over and have to do another attempt, but thank goodness it didn't. Sinclair's the goat with his healing egos, I'll say that much.
해냈구나. 나라도 그랬을 거야.
나무와 함께 베어 넘겨드리죠.
방금 공격. 다음에 다른 개체에게도 다시 해봐줄래? 영상으로 남기면 다른 직원에게도 도움이 될지도 몰라.
근데 요시히데야, 이기려면 그 칼을 싸게 뽑았어야지. 나를 들뜨게 만드는 일은 많지 않지만 이번엔 그 귀중한 경우의 수에 들어맞았군. 잘 놀다 간다. 회수하지 않은 탄피는 팁이다.
And yeah, that's the Kanto 8 mirror matches. At least the most important ones that I can think of. So yeah, it was pretty fun. Definitely challenging. Pretty much the only thing that I could think of that's actually worth it to do in, like, you know, story mode. Because story mode is very lacking in actual content, in my opinion, after you've already beaten it once. But anyways, that's it for me. Like and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.